Well, good evening everyone and welcome to Rush Green for the last game of the Premier League 2 traditional tournament before the playoffs begin. I am Ollie Audis and I am joined by, as per, the brilliant Mark Phillips. Mark, hello, how are you this evening?
Brilliant. I don't think I've ever been described as brilliant by anybody. Thank
you very
really?
Much.
No, I'm good, I'm good. It's a nice warm day. It's Crystal Palace's academy manager Gary is waving at me. He's a good friend of mine, and it's nice to be up here when we've not got loads of coats and hats and gloves and what's the thing you mean? Snoods. I forgot what the name of the snood was.
The snood. Yep, indeed.
Well, I mean, no one can see us, but we're actually in t-shirts and speedos as we speak.
That's what it feels like, as you were saying just before we went on air. Obviously, we've been used to the windy rain and all of that torrential weather over the course of the season, but actually standing up here in a gilet and a hoodie, as I can see you're in the same attire as well with the West Ham theme, it's actually really quite nice.
Absolute quality. He didn't even send me a memo and we're dressed the same.
Exactly. We're just totally in sync. But the Palace players coming out, they are the opposition this evening for West Ham's game against Crystal Palace. The two informed sides of this calendar year. Of course, Crystal Palace have really strengthened recently, and they're coming off the back before the international break of a really impressive 3-2 win away at Manchester City. Funnily enough, it was Divin Mabama who made it 2-0 to Manchester City, and then in the last minute Crystal Palace completed the comeback and won 3-2, so that's no mean feat. Of course, Mark, have you been able to, what's your experience been like with Crystal Palace over the years?
Well, driving here I was having a thought about Crystal Palace, and I actually think that us and Crystal Palace are fortunate enough to be in the two best catchment areas in London, and different catchment areas, because Crystal Palace is a hotbed of South London players, and we've got the beauty of East London and Essex, which again produces players. So I do think these two sides, one thing I will say about them, are in the best catchment areas there is in London. Doesn't mean we always get all the players from East London and Essex, and Crystal Palace don't get every player from South London, but they are two really hotbeds of catchment areas.
Of course, it's interesting. Do you think that's just because West London's maybe, well, I suppose you still get good players in West London, but why do you not think that maybe stretches to West or North London?
My opinion will differ from lots of people, but I actually think, and this obviously is not a fact, but I think the best, well, not the best, but the majority of footballers and boxers come from working class, tough environments, and those of us who have lived in East London or South London, they are tough working class environments, and I think they produce players in East London and Essex, and as well as in South London. It doesn't mean that Arsenal, Tottenham and Chelsea don't come over and nick at, of course I say our players, but players from this area, which does happen. I just think, these are two very good clubs with good catchment areas.
Well, here are the teams for this evening's game. We'll start with West Ham, the home side. Of course, Finn Herrick is back in goal with Josh Briggs starting and Louis Brown. Tyrone Akpata back in midfield with Caelan Casey in defence and Ezra Myers. Kamari Swire, Lewis Orford, Josh Ajala, Preston Fearon and Sean Moore complete the starting 11 for Mark Robson. Substitutes, Eridas Golombekis, Mason Terry, Dan Rigg, Josh Landers, and celebrating a recent pro contract, Rayan Oyabade. So Crystal Palace, coached by Darren Powell, who was once on loan at West Ham in 2004. He starts with Louis Moulden in goal with Caleb Kapoha, George King, Jake Grante, Luke Brown the captain, Dylan Reid, Franco Uma, Caden Rodney, Adamola Ola Adebomi, Hindolo Mustafa and Zach Marsh. Substitutions for the Eagles, Ayamofi Jamide, Joe Gibbard, Sebastian Williams, Rio Cardenas and Jesse Derry. So we're ready to go. Of course, on the bench, Mark, Rayan Oyabade recently signing, so did Lanre Owesu signing their first pro contracts. What did you make of that?
Well, I mean, they've worked hard at scholarships to earn a professional contract, and that's what every young boy, when they walk into an academy at 7, 8, 9 years of age, that they're looking to eventually become a professional. And it's not that many of them may make it, so fair due to all of them, really fair due. But again, on another subject, this is going to be a really tough game. Any team who's come from the back of beating Manchester City are going to be very confident.
Well, Crystal Palace are looking to extend their unbeaten run to 7 games. Of course, West Ham lost their 7-game unbeaten run in the last game we were here on the 14th of March against Leicester, losing 3-2. And they'll be looking to try and get back to winning ways and really gather some momentum before going into the playoffs. And they were, of course, unfortunate last season to not go further. I believe it was Sunderland who knocked them out last year, wasn't it?
Yes, I was there that night, Sunderland away, and I thought it was very unfortunate not to go through. It was definitely the better side, and we'd have beat Sunderland, we'd have played Spurs in the next round, which would have been an interesting encounter for so many reasons.
Mainly down to the fact that it's a rivalry, or also because of how close they were in the Premier League too? Wow.
I think you got it in one the first time.
All of the above. It's Crystal Palace, of course, had a really bad result, losing 10-0 to Brighton earlier on in the season, and then since then have only conceded, I think, around 12 or 13 goals.
I think that shows you the nature of 21's football. Depends who you've got available to you at any one game. If people are in the 18s or on the bench for the first team, that shows you there. I mean, losing 10-0 was obviously a dramatic result, and then going and beating Manchester City away 3-2. So the team's they've obviously got the best coach in the world who's turned them around, or they might have a different personnel that day.
They've got Darren Powell as league coach. You someone who's familiar with him? Of
Yeah,
course, I've played.
Yeah, not played against Darren, but I've coached teams against Darren on several occasions. He can't be the best coach in the world, obviously, because I am. But maybe he's the second best. I'm not sure.
Who were you coaching when you were up against him previously in your career?
West Ham, anyway.
West Ham, of course.
I was the under-18s coach for 10 years.
Of course. No, I know.
Do you think
I thought it was just senior. Sorry, not just senior.
I know I'm now a professional summariser, but I did used to do a bit of coaching.
Of course. I understand you were the under-18s head coach. That's a good ball. Teasing that Malden was there.
I was head coach, assistant coach, head coach, assistant coach. I've done everything with the 18s.
Of course. No, I did know that. I may have wondered if you did something outside of West Ham, perhaps managing a lower league side as a senior, knowing that you do like to get involved in many things, Mark.
I do. Most people know I was at Arsenal before I came to West Ham for 3 years, but that was only doing the under-11s. No, it's senior. In the professional development phase, I've only ever been at West Ham United.
There's their top goal scorer, Olo Adebomi. Big, powerful centre half, and winning the first free kick of the game. Zach Patter, who brought him down. Actually, as Ramirez, Zach Patter close by. That forward passes back to Louis Brown, who's back in the starting lineup. This looks positive. Moore on the left. Keeps the ball. Tries to send it across, but West Ham will get the first corner.
There's a nice little ball there from Lewis Brown. Simple pass, just forward, 15-yard pass, no pressure, bang, and that sets us away. I think Sean should have made his mind up a little bit quicker. He was sort of a little bit, shall I do this, shall I do that, and in the end didn't end up doing anything.
Well, Orford played a full 90 on the international break against Turkey in that goalless draw. He sends in a ball towards Casey, who is part of the team as well. Akpata fires one goalwards. But a foul had been committed just before he struck the ball.
I think early on in the season, or the middle of the season, we was an absolute threat from set pieces. The last couple of games, I haven't noticed. Obviously, we know Lewis Howes gone to Poland, who was a threat in there, but Callum Casey likes to get on the end of things.
He got close there. Of course, Louis Brown. What have you made of his development now with the season coming to an end? Of course, we've still got the playoffs, but
he's been a bit unlucky with injuries and stuff like that. But I think he's fully fit now. He's now back in the side. I take a team to Hong Kong in May for the Hong Kong Sevens. Have done for the last 10 years, and Louis Brown is on the radar of coming with us because he hasn't played that much football. We'll play Cam, by the way.
And that cohort of players, is that what are the age categories for them?
There's actually no limit, and most teams take their 21s and 18s. It's a foul. I play on. But my hands are tied a little bit as the coach, because if we progress in the playoffs, then obviously the playoffs are that weekend. If we get through to the final, the 17th, we're in here. Cut it.
Not the best from Preston Fearon.
I think got caught in two lines again. I think football's so much about decision making, and we didn't make the correct one there. As I say, my hands are tied with the Hong Kong, because if we progress to the final, I won't have any 21s, because they'll thankfully be playing in the final that weekend, the 17th. I'll take a younger 18 squad. But if we was to be knocked out, quarterfinals, semi-finals, or the round before that, then I know I've got the luxury of picking 21s. It's a nice end of season trip.
Yes.
It's a great, well-run tournament. It's a nice place to visit. The flight's a bit brutal. But,
is it just one way there, or is there a stop-off?
No, it's one way there. It's between 12 and 14 hours. It's a great place when you get there. It's a really good place.
And how many there are in the team, including staff?
You take 10 players, it's 7-a-side on a 3/4 pitch. But you take 10 players, 4 staff. But this year we're taking 5 staff, because the academy manager decided he wants to come.
West Ham getting joy down that left.
Making some good inroads down the left-hand side, aren't we?
Definitely, and I can see Fearon perhaps playing slightly more attacking, with Orford and Akpata just behind him.
Yeah.
Is that a position he's been familiar with in his development here at West Ham?
Yeah, I think he's played as a loose 10 before, sort of thing, and he makes things happen. And you know, Sean Moore is far better going forward than he is as like a left back, left wing back. So he's always going to run into the spaces that Palace have given us. We started quite well, actually.
Yes, a bright start from West Ham. Here's George King taking it beyond Swire, taking it on the inside. There's Franco Uma. You often expect much of the Crystal Palace academies when you play them. Of course, they are notorious, but
always you're very, very competitive. They're always competitive. As I say, South London, there was a documentary last year of how many players they produced and everything else, and most of them at Palace and whatever. No, they always give you a very hard game.
Here's Uma. First time, straight into the legs of Briggs.
And now they've got fantastic facilities, Crystal Palace. They've completely rebuilt all their academy and first team training facilities in a strange, tight sort of residential area. But they've done a great job there, really have. Spent a lot of money.
And that is in the South London area, or just outside, did you say, sorry?
No, it's in South London. It's in Beckenham. It's actually in Beckenham. But it's not sort of done in a rural place. It's done in between houses and flats. They've done it really cleverly. They really have.
Keeping that community feel, I suppose.
Yeah.
Something they want.
Yeah. I think they pride themselves on being a community club. Although Millwall fans wouldn't agree with that. They call Palace fans Nigels. Whatever they mean by that, I don't know.
I didn't know if that was good. Well, I suppose why would they be speaking Cockney rhyming slang?
No, it's not Cockney
rhyming.
rhyming.
That's nothing to do with it.
I mean,
I've been used to you saying that a few times.
It's just a Millwall thing. They call them Nigels. I don't know why. I mean, both these teams on the pitch here, Millwall can't stand the pair of us.
Yeah.
Us for different reasons to Palace, but that shall remain with me.
Jake Grante going to feed it forward. And this time they managed to try and get in behind. Herrick's off his line, clearing it away quickly.
I did think he was just half a yard offside, sort of thing.
Ola Adebomi, the 21-year-old, seen as a powerful centre forward who has been with Crystal Palace since the age of 8. In fact, he was nominated for Premier League 2 Player of the Month recently after scoring 5 goals in 3 wins.
It's funny you should say that. He's been at Palace since the age of 8. He was working out the other day how many players are at clubs who have been there since pre-academy. So, you know, you obviously add to it as you go through the ages. But, you know, our West Ham pre-academy do a fantastic job at getting players that young, and we keep them at the club with, you know, setting a good environment. But it really does matter to get them in at an early stage. The same as George Murphy, Callum Casey did, and they're still, you know, well, not knocking. George did play for the first team in school.
George Murphy against Luton, wasn't it?
For no, he scored for West Ham last year, didn't he?
Yeah,
In the
George,
Premier
yeah,
League?
fought against Luton, I think.
It might have been.
3-1 win.
I actually forgot. I forgot Luton was in the Premier League. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I know.
Because they're bottom of the first.
I know.
Bottom
I think everyone's forgotten that they've had a time in the Premier League.
I'm thinking, Luton, what's he talking
Crazy.
about? For Bristol City? No, you're right.
The FA Cup?
Yeah, I think you're right, fella. Terrible. What's happened to me? Knowledge, you know more about the game than I do.
3 weeks out of the game, Mark, when it comes to being up here. I don't blame you. It's easily forgotten, though. So, of course, as we were saying before the game, it's likely that with West Ham being in a strong position before they finish the season, that they will have a home game in the Premier League 2 playoffs, which I reckon could land on a Friday, perhaps maybe the 2nd of May. That was a game that was played last year.
Is that the day penciled into it? Is that the weekend, is it?
Well, West Ham did play on that day last season, and was
it Blackburn last year we played first?
I think so. Before the Sunderland game.
Yeah.
So I think that has a high chance of being the date where West Ham may play their first playoff game. Plenty of communication going on right now between both players. Can hear it loud and clear. Both managers towards their bench. No one up against the technical area. And the Rhinos flag on the far side is raised against Franco Uma.
I'd be very surprised if Crystal Palace or anyone has someone in the ilk of Jeremy Mongo we saw play before playing the last game for Leicester. It's quite funny. Do you remember that game I was saying I can see Manchester City coming in buying him? I've been told on the grapevine that it's already done. It's done before I mentioned it.
No way. Really?
You watch,
oh my.
Watch this space.
Oh wow. That does not surprise me one bit. Wow.
He was a bit warm for an under 16.
Oh. Well, do you know, I've been singing his praises the last few weeks. Often I find when you watch a TV game, you hear the commentators talk about a player a lot, and it sometimes can get a little bit tiresome. But actually, when you do see a phenomenal player like that, you can't not praise them. And yeah, he was something to be 6 years younger than the age group.
I think the media's got an obsession with Marcus Rashford. They're always talking about him, always praising him. I didn't know Jeremy Mongo before the game, and then he was exceptional. He's definitely one of the best if not the best under 16 I've seen.
Well, it's not surprising that he's going to go to Manchester City.
Yeah, but not great for the game of football, if I'm honest. But
creates a bit of a monopoly, would you say, or hard to compete?
Not a bit of a monopoly. It's a total monopoly. I mean, although they're not winning the league this year, I don't see why they should be taking the best young players as well as the best professionals. I'd like them to build their own rather than just buy from other clubs. Where you going, Preston?
Of course, a bit like what Crystal Palace and West Ham do, nurture your own and then add to it if needs be. And often it is needed, but don't make it the sole way in which you would acquire such talent at a young age.
I agree with you, totally agree. I mean, recruitment-wise, you've got to take your hat off to Brighton and Brentford at the senior level, because they've done well over the years recently. But academy level, we do tend to.
Warford pushed over. This is a good chance. Herrick saving it with his palms. It's not alive anymore. Then Herrick frustrated his defenders in front of him there. Warford pushed over by the number 8, Caden Rodney. Strong hands from Herrick. What did you make of that there then, Mark?
Yeah, good save. I mean, one of those with Lou there could be given, could not be given, but when it wasn't, it sort of transpired into being quite a reasonable chance for Palace. The last 2, 3, maybe 4 minutes, they've definitely, won't use the word ascendancy, we're on the bingo, they've taken the upper hand.
The upper hand. Well, they have a chance to really take the upper hand here. It's a poor pass, allowing Akpata to win the ball back and then win a foul. Good work there from West Ham's number 4.
Yeah, done well, Tyrone. Secured it, trying to get out the pitch. Have the old Mark Noble, little touch, over we go, we'll have a free kick. Thanks for coming. Not only Mark Noble, John Wonker, other players in the past.
The Eagles.
I just thought I heard the producers say something in my ear, but I think everyone else has heard that someone say the Eagles, and it ended up being some of the Palace subs speaking into the mic below to our right hand side.
He actually said Hammers v the Eagles.
Hammers v the Eagles.
But it shows he's got a little bit of spirit and a bit about him.
Yeah.
Don't mind that, a bit of a character in the game.
Absolutely.
Good luck then. We didn't have a clue where it was coming from.
I know. I looked at the van behind us thinking that's going to be a producer, and then all of a sudden I see 3 Palace substitutes to my right laughing.
Well, to be fair, what he said, it was the Hammers v the Eagles.
It was,
so it wasn't incorrect.
He knows the deal. And West Ham trying to score whilst they're having a rare attack from the last 6 minutes of what we've seen. Briggs fires over.
Sat up quite nicely there for Josh. Actually, it was one that you really got to get your knee over it. It sat up quite nicely. It was one of them could hit the corner flag or the back of the net. Obviously, it was a bit closer to the corner flag. Brave enough to take it on.
Of course, he's had a good second half of the season, Josh Briggs. Wasn't really involved in the first half, solely down to injury, I believe. But,
it was, and he had to break his way in at right back because Junior Robinson was the regular. And if you remember, I was sort of like quite sceptical of him playing there, but he's proved me wrong. He's done really well at right wing back, really has.
That's a good challenge from Moore. Ooh, an actual challenge, which the referee does not agree with. And it's going to be a free kick.
I don't agree with him. I think that we played the ball, went off him, it's a goal kick. Sure, Sean plays the ball, hits the fella and goes off. There you go.
Oh, that's a really questionable call.
Or you are polite, or a diplomat, one of the two. It was the wrong decision. End of.
Yep, thanks, Mark.
But in fairness, he's a lot nearer than I am, so
Well,
there you go. I'll hold my hands up to that.
that's where we need VAR, right?
No.
No, not at all. Well, here they come. It's a low ball. It's Mayers who will then clear it out. Second time of asking. The Palace player here, the number 2, scanning around. Caleb Kaporha. Of course, we're just under the first 20 minutes then, Mark. How do you think the first half's gone so far?
It's even, if I'm honest. They might have shaded it, Palace. They might have just shaded it. But we had opportunities when we've got in down the left-hand side and haven't made the best of that. And they've had a few opportunities. They've had more opportunities a bit higher and actually got shots off. But game's fairly even.
Well, Ola Adebomi was offside as he was fed in neatly by Caden Rodney, but it was a nice ball. He was just in the offside position. Ajala not giving it up. He's in towards Ola Adebomi, frustrated that he couldn't keep it under his spell.
I think Tyrone's done really well breaking the play up, getting tackles in here and there, especially off the front, and a good job at breaking the play up for us.
He's been a really impressive player all season. You think he'll be at West Ham next season for the under-21s, or would he be seeking maybe a loan move for senior football? I suppose you can't really say, can you?
No, but I should imagine he's seeking a loan move. I'm not 100% whether we'll get one or not, but all of these 21 games, there's always scouts here, so you might think someone might come asking, for him to go and play for them. I think they're doing some good.
He's only 18, isn't he?
He's actually, he's 18. He's under 9. He's a young under 19. Yeah, here he is. He's got he's got better year. I think he come when he was under 12, under 13. He's got better, every year.
Yeah, he's really grown in this season, of course, since breaking into the under-21s, following Patrick Kelly going on loan.
Yep.
And George Earthy, of course, but he's replaced that second central midfield role alongside Orford.
Fellas, move the ball. Come away, leave the ball.
That is the fourth official talking to the lively substitute.
I think they like to cause a bit of mischief down to our left. I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
Yeah.
I think it's quite funny. You want to see some players with a bit of personality.
Bit of character.
Yeah, exactly. Now the fourth official's having words. Slightly more frustrated than how we were.
I think having a bit of mischief and a bit of character was how I'd like to see myself, but most people would have said I was a nuisance.
Well, hopefully the Palace players that may come on in the
great touch.
throughout the rest
Great
of the game
touch.
don't provide a nuisance.
Good touch from Cam there. There we go. Real way. Keep it going left. Keep it going left. There we go. Go on, Lou. Go on, Lou. 2v1 over
Driving
there.
run forward.
We'll take the ball with you. I've lost a bit of momentum now.
Well, they've got a corner.
Yep.
It was a nice first touch from Fearon as he managed to show good close control in a tight area. Didn't really have any options going forward, so fed it back to Brown.
Again there, when it went back to Lou, we had a 2v. Quite often we've got a 2v1 left. I think we can get some joy and get to the byline from there, which we've done, but we haven't produced the correct cross, the right pullback, or the one across the front. Just work on the end product a little bit and might have some joy.
As we've seen that quite a bit this season, I think it's quite common for a lot of teams to work on that final product. It feels like the hardest bit. Well, it's probably is. I mean, that's not the greatest corner you'll see from Orford.
It's not, but the picture at the back stick there was, if you isolate Calum 1v1 with someone in the air, Calum's going to win a few of them. So there, I mean, the actual delivery wasn't as good as Lewis normally produces. But it's nice to see Calum get in there, just a 1v1 with one defender, because I'd always fancy him to win a couple of those in the air. He's in a good position if he does.
Of course, he scored in the last game, Caelan Casey, against Leicester. 2 goals to his name against Arsenal and Leicester. Put the Hammers 2-1 up that game. And of course, it was our opposition star boy Mark that caused the difference in the latter stages against Leicester.
Yeah, no, he was exceptional, the young lad. He was. But if the lad does go to Man City, I don't want to see him languishing in the 21s. Put him on the bench, put him in the first team. I'm thinking now as an Englishman for the English team. I mean, when you think about in the hello, great picture. Don't come back. Take care of that final product. If you think of in the last World Cup, or was it the Euros, the 2 Spanish lads, they was only 17, and
Lamine Yamal.
Yeah, and they was whipping people. Why can't we do that? Why can't they? We're players now from England doing that and playing for the national team as early as we can.
It's a good point. I think a lot of people then said, I know that whilst we wait for the corner, a lot of people said about last year's Euros, would we have picked Lamine Yamal if he played for Arsenal and was an Englishman? Would we have picked someone like that? And
the answer is unfortunately no. But because of Spain doing it, go on, Callum.
Once again, feeding it towards Casey. He's going to have another chance. It'll probably be Fearon though with his left foot.
I'd rather they not completely driven flat, but just a little bit. So all you got to do is just touch it in towards the goal, just deflect it. That there, you've got to put a little bit of power on it. It's hanging in the air. It's got a little bit of snow on it. Don't want it that high. Snow's obviously a ridiculous, stupid exaggeration for me, which I do tend to do in life.
The low ball in.
Too flat.
Jala now up against the number 10 Mustafa. Moore down to Ajala. Got Louis Brown, Casey in the box.
Don't mind that cross. Don't mind that.
Orford.
Oh, Drew. Go on,
A
look.
fancy one from his left.
Get in.
And into the side netting. Lewis Orford getting a goal. After spending time with England and the under-19s, he's back for West Ham after the international break and scoring a lovely goal against the Eagles.
I think it was on his, so we say, his weaker foot. It was on his left foot. You know, he's worked that little opening and just he's hit it quite clean. Keeper doesn't move if you look at him. You watch the keeper, doesn't move. He's a little bit like me at the bar when it's my round. Didn't move a muscle, the fella.
Waiting for other people to do your purchase for you. It was George King who tried clearing it out, the number 3 for Crystal Palace. Then Orford collecting it nicely and striking it ever so well, low down with his left.
Great little finish.
They'll be happy with that. Of course, he did miss a penalty against Leicester.
He did it. It also is a little gentle reminder, shall we say, to first team staff who's about and he can score and create. It doesn't do you any harm, obviously, scoring goals at this level.
Of course, that's Orford's first goal since the 14th of February. We were doing that game, Mark, West Ham versus Blackburn. He scored a penalty in the first half to make it 2-0.
Yep,
here come Palace to get a goal back. They try to play it from that far side, the tight angle, but with a big number 9 in the box to aim for, and Ola Adebayo.
We're quite well set here. We're quite well banked up, and I'll just give us the kiss of death.
Well, here come Crystal Palace again. Spread out to Uma. Tries to cut it back. That's a curling ball in from Rodney. And then it's headed away and struck with venom from distance by Jake Grante. As you'd expect, Palace playing brightly here after they've been pegged back a goal by Lewis Orford.
Yeah, they definitely come down here to equalise, but we're quite well set. They haven't really played behind us that much. Play West Ham. This is the one, Luke. This is the one, Luke.
Fearon making a good run down that left, but it's a brilliant touch from Jake Grante. Ever so needed there, because if he didn't get that, Fearon would have...
He was in, yeah. It's good from Louis. He's looked one way, played the other, but the big size 11 got a stud on it and stopped it going there.
You feel the reason why Crystal Palace may not have been able to play him behind is solely just down to the way they've set up, or perhaps just the good back line from West Ham? The structure back line.
They've tried to hit a few of those, Diags, actually. And they've been half successful. This is unpleasant.
Tricky feet, but ran into danger.
Yeah.
Brown will send it long. Jala shielding off Jake Grante.
Crystal Palace have had a good response to going to goal down, actually. They really have. They haven't created anything clear cut, they've had a good response.
Tricky feet from Uma, but Swire and Briggs, too much for him to try and get through. Here's Fearon in room.
Shawmore, inside the fullback. Shawmore now. You're in, Shaw. You're in, son.
Lovely layoff from Fearon as Moore looks to make it 2. Slight little stutter there before he struck it, hitting the legs of the goalkeeper, Louis Malden.
Didn't really get the ball out in front of him, so all caught under his feet. I mean, the keeper had to make a save, but you want that out in front of him, it's just sort of under his feet a little bit there. Well, it's a shot on target, and the keeper's made a good save, but we are getting joy around that left-hand side. They are leaving big gaps for us to play in.
I feel Fearon's making his mark really in that pocket of room he's playing, and he often finds himself in a good radius of room.
Done the ball now. I think Fearon and Tyrone so far had a good game central midfield.
Not the best ball you'll see from Orford. But Mayer's just fouling his counterpart there. The number 11 Zach Marsh brought down, but no yellow card shown. Fairly tactical there, would you say, Mark, from Ezra?
Yeah, professional foul, if I'm honest. He could have warranted a booking, but Ezra was very good. He just done the foul and walked off as if he was,
as if it never happened.
Yeah, as if he wasn't even on the pitch. There's nothing to do with me, Governor.
Warford looking straight at the referee as he feels he was obstructed off his move. Olot had a bomby. Trying to just test that back line for West Ham, but West Ham unable to capitalise on that ball forward. We're over the halfway off an hour mark. The sun just about to set in front of us. Does feel luxurious, doesn't it, Mark?
Look at that sun setting over Barking. I mean, people go all around the world to see that, the Far East, anywhere, but look at that over Barking. Can't beat it.
Why go to the Far East when you could just go to East London?
Yeah, same place.
Exactly.
East
We are in the Far East at the moment.
East is east.
It's a corner for West Ham.
Bit unclear what he was giving that. It wasn't really decisive. But we want one of these corners to be where the other one, but the last one was taken, a little bit flatter, but just a little bit more on it to get to sort of like around the back stick.
Is that in reference to the one Orford did over there, opposite
no,
us, or the one Fearon did?
It was the one that Fearon did.
Where it just went quite low,
didn't
it?
Yeah, along the floor. But we've had quite a few corners actually, but just one at the right height. I still fancy Mr. Casey to get on the end of one.
Well, hopefully so. Swire's making a run towards that front post. Goalkeeper Malden having to palm it over. You can see Casey and Brown falling into one another in the corner of the side netting.
That's the sort of area I'm talking about. I don't think I mentioned to you that Caleb Casey scored in the Youth Cup final 2 years ago, and it's taken me how long to mention it?
Over half an hour, which is quite long for your standards, Mark. I suppose it's coming up to the anniversary of it soon.
It is.
May the 11th?
I think it was. It was around 2 years ago anyway.
Yes. Well, of course, another cup to mention is the Under-18s Premier League Cup at the Majewski. I think it might be at the Majewski Stadium. I'm not too sure.
It is the Majewski Stadium on the 22nd of April.
7 p.m. kickoff.
Tuesday the 20. Oh, West Coast. Tuesday the 22nd of April.
Looking forward to that one.
I'm indeed.
Two sides in the Premier League South that will know one another. You fancy West Ham's chances in that if you were to look at it as a non-biased person who is aware of West Ham's quality?
Yes, I do, because I think of the players. Give that to us. It's a strange decision, but we'll have it. Is when you think of the players who are playing up in this game here, who can play in that. I mean, Ezra can play in that. Fearon can play in that. Josh Ajala can play in that. So our 18s, when they're at full strength with the 21s players brought back into it, we have a decent side. But so do Reading, I believe. I believe Reading's 18s, when they're at full strength, they're a good. So should be a good final.
Absolutely.
With us probably winning 5-1 as we did at Arsenal.
It would be fitting, wouldn't it? That's a ball hung in far. Just right now, the Reading under-21s, they're 20th in the Premier League too.
Yeah.
So, chance for them in the playoffs is far from likely. Chelsea currently 2-0 up against Aston Villa. Southampton 1-0 up against Blackburn. Stoke 1-0 up against Wolves. And of course, the most importantly, West Ham 1-0 up against Palace. But here come the Eagles from that right-hand side. It was Mustafa who managed to make some room to try and feed it across to Zach Marsh, who was playing in a central position.
I mean, from Palace's point of view, they'd be disappointed with that. He just picks a player out there and they've got to tap him, really. Similar, if that's at Premier League level, you're looking to score from that, and quite rightly so, and that's what all these players are aspiring to be, so you've got to be more clinical with his chances. I'm glad Palace weren't there, obviously, but
from a development level,
exactly.
You understand what's required there for anyone.
Yeah.
Orford, driving run as he's up against Plenty of yellow shirts there.
Fantastic run there from Lou, really good. Skill, power, drive, had it all.
Like they're holding off. I mean, they were still trying to go in, but he just glided the ball well.
Yeah.
It felt like Crystal Palace didn't really get a chance.
No, it's a good ball. It's a good pass, by the way.
Majala in the box, so Swire.
Because he's such a good technical player, Lou, sometimes his actual physical prowess of running speed and strength is forgotten about. He's a little, like Trevor Booking. You wouldn't, if you'd say he was full of grace and everything else, but Trevor Booking could get away from people more than you'd think. This could be nasty.
Well, they're in the way there, West Ham, with the number 7, Frank Ouma. But it's not over yet for Crystal Palace.
No, they're still a threat.
Rodney's outside the area, but it's hung in towards that back post, and Zach Marsh. Briggs keeps tabs on him. It's George King. Rodney. Olo Adebomi. May is having to stand his ground. And they're forced out wide again. Robust defending from West Ham in the box.
That's good defending. If you're making a player play backwards when he's in and around your box, you've done your job.
Absolutely. And they try and do their job here. Dangerous run. It's struck towards that far post. Olo Adebomi as well was lunging down to try and get a nick.
I think it was a shot.
It definitely was, but the striker felt he could have tried and tapped it in. That'd have been some hard effort though for Crystal Palace's number 9 to try and steer that in, given the power on the strike.
Yeah,
from the number 2.
It's flown across the front of him. To be fair, if he was to get a touch, he would fancy it to be a goal.
Of course, that number 2 had just had the strike, Caleb Kaporha, only 18 years of age, but he's already played twice for the senior side, albeit just a couple of minutes between 2 games against Arsenal and Fulham.
That's impressive. I mean, that must mean that people at the club obviously fancy him to go on and have potential.
I suppose it's the same though for Caelan Casey as well. He's come on recently. I remember Bournemouth. And of course Orford, he's enjoyed some minutes for the first team.
Yeah. Well, his goals has had a few as well.
Oh yeah, he's certainly made his mark in being in around the first team at the moment consistently. Good save at his near post. Strong hands there to deny Frank Ouma. Trying to then galvanise his side to stay focused, to defend this corner.
Yeah, good response from the team from South London.
Well, here's their number 6, Dylan Reid. Hangs it in towards that far post, but once again, good defending, and that's from Lewis Orford as well. So, really showing his attacking qualities and defending qualities.
Yeah, Lou's decent.
One evening.
Lou's decent in the air.
This is a clever run from once again, Caleb Kaporha, the one who we're just saying has been in and around the first team. He's starting to liven up a little bit now recently, Mark.
He's doing a little bit of a Jeremy Monger from the right. To be fair, I didn't like the way he went past Preston far too easily, quite high up the pitch. That's the place to engage him. Once he's on the edge of the box, it's going to be dangerous. Play tight.
Here he is popping up on the left. Of course, he's a typical full-back, can play either right or left-back. Here's George King. Crystal Palace just enjoying the majority of the ball at the moment in the final 5.5 minutes of the first half. Of course, Lewis Orford's goal separating the two.
I'd like us to engage him a little bit higher rather than let them get into the last third where they can hurt us. We should be engaging them there.
Swire trying to play the quickie feet. The quickie feet. The quick feet. What am I on about?
Is that something from TikTok? Is it the quickie feet?
I have no idea. No, it's certainly. I haven't got it from TikTok. I think it's just.
I think it's actually me on the dance floor in 1981.
Quickie feet. Oh, really? You had the quickie feet, yeah? Especially in your running days.
Yeah, my running days. I've still got the running days.
Oh, of course.
I've never had quickie feet, I can assure you.
Even on the football pitch?
No.
The techie feet is what I think people would call it.
Absolute all tanker. Turns on the planet, the fella. Can pass it a bit like this. Oh, Lewis, he was in there.
Warford about to show his inner Mark Phillips. There it is, the sideways pass.
We need a little bit of possession here. Just take the sting out of the game. Now we'll go in. Hello, here we go in our best position.
They could have a chance. Here's Moore up against Grante. Trying to feed it in towards Swire.
It's fouled him, by the way, ref.
See the clear shirt pull. Brilliant grit and determination from Brown to try and win it back and keep it.
Well played, Lewis Brown.
Excellent. Swire. Tries to pull it across.
Great ball, Cam. Oh, it's a great ball. It's not the best tackle I've ever seen. Calm down, man. Calm down, fella. It's a commercial. It was a free kick.
Ordering Casey.
Probably a great cross there from Cam. All it needed was the slightest touch, and we're 2 up. It's funny because the fella we're saying is really good for them. What's his name? The 2.
Yeah, Kaporha.
He could be the reason, strangely enough, that we keep getting in because he's so.
He's quite attacking, isn't he?
He's attacking, he's adventurous, he's ambitious, but he's leaving massive gaps for us to get into. He's a threat when he goes forward, he really is, but he's leaving a big hole for us to attack down the left. If you're their coach, you wouldn't want to stop him doing that because, things can happen from it.
Yes.
But maybe we can capitalise when we regain possession. If you watch the hole he's leaving, we can get in behind him.
Like a double-edged sword, really.
It is classic. Really, yes. It's a game of risk and reward.
Well, since he started to get more involved in the game, Palace have looked livelier.
Yep. I mean, if you look at the position he's in now, he's in advance of Cam. If we get possession of it, Cam's in advance of him. So that's the game. That's the tactical battle that we're all involved with.
You can hear Dylan Reid shouting switch at his players. Here he is on the ball now, plucking the strings. Of course, he was the player that got Crystal Palace's 3rd goal to make it 3-2 against Manchester City. He's Scottish, joined from St Mirren in February 2023 and became the youngest Scottish Premiership player after coming off the bench to make his debut against Ibrox at 16 years and 5 days.
I don't think it was against Ibrox. I think it might have been.
Did I say against Ibrox? What is? Oh my!
I think it was played at Ibrox. Yeah, but don't worry.
it was against Ibrox at Rangers Stadium.
There you go.
There we go. No, ignore me. Ooh. Crystal Palace gliding through. Referee sees that as a dive.
I wasn't sure from here. I wasn't sure. He hasn't complained too much, and he's been booked for it. So. Let's have a butcher's at it. Got some feet, I know that. Quickie feet. I don't think Thailand just stood his ground, really. Good quickie feet, as you would say.
I think at half time I'm going to put my teeth in because that last one.
Did you say Palace got them from St Mirren, did they?
Yes, they did.
Quite interesting recruitment. One of West Ham's best players in the last 40 years come from St Mirren. Do you know who that is?
Billy Bonds.
Billy Bonds, St Mirren, behave yourself, he comes from Woolwich. No, the geezer's obviously Scottish, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I know. Okay,
Produce.
Very quick feet.
I'll put you out of misery.
No, put me out of my misery, Mark.
Frank McAvenny.
Okay, yeah, I would.
He came down. Go on, Josh. Oh, do not like that. I'll tell you about Frank in a minute.
There come Palace. It looks like it's going to be 1 more minute added on. Here is Reid.
Can't remember any injuries or anything, can you?
No. Good as the goal from Morford. Go on then, Mark. You're about to say something about that player who used to play for St Mirren.
Yeah, Frank McAvenny came down. It was in the time, those of you who are old enough to remember, in 1986 there was actually a a television strike of football. There was something to do with pay and that. So McAvenny joined us, and then no one knew who he was at West Ham, let alone any other clubs. But he joined us and scored like ridiculous amounts of goals before the strike was. So no one had a look at him to know what he was about. They were just coming out on the pitch. McAvenny scored. Coming out on the pitch, McAvenny scored. And they didn't really know what he was about. And McAvenny and Cotty had a fantastic partnership for us that season.
How long was he at West Ham for?
We had 2 spells. I think he was with us for a couple of seasons. Then he went to Selkirk, which is his favourite. They supported Selkirk. He came from Glasgow, and then he came back to us. Wasn't quite the same when he came back to us, but still scored goals for us.
Well, that man there scores goals for West Ham, Lewis Orford, making it 1-0. We'll just go over the goal shortly, but West Ham going into the break in a strong position following that strike. And here it was with the sun setting down just before this West Ham goal. Mark, take us through it.
I think, as I say, the first touch, just to give himself half a yard. It looks nothing on here, but they're all important. He was just going to give himself a yard. They know he's a right-footed player, Palace, so they're not really expecting him to take it with his left. There, give himself a yard, through legs, fantastically placed, giving the keeper no chance whatsoever. That's a great finish, but the game is far from over, as we've seen in the previous weeks here. Palace do look a good side and they look a threat, but we're winning 1-0.
Well, of course, Crystal Palace's unbeaten run looking like it could come to an end, but as you said, it's far from over. We've still got the second half coming up just after 15 minutes time. We'll be back shortly. It finishes here at the break. West Ham 1, Crystal Palace 0. Well, hello everyone, welcome back for the start of the second half. Lewis Orford is the reason why West Ham are in the lead. Crystal Palace going in. What do you think their manager and the coaching staff under Darren Powell will be saying to Crystal Palace, Mark?
I don't think we'll be changing it too much because they had quite a good spell in that first half without having the end product. So I think they'll just be keeping it the same, Palace, hoping they can actually produce a goal scoring opportunity and take it. But I wouldn't say... blimey. That's one of the deepest offside decisions we've ever been, like 10 yards in now, our own half. But that's the rules these days. No, I'm not sitting here confident by any means. It's going to be a tough 45 minutes. And as I always say, the next goal is so important.
It is. We've seen West Ham in this situation time and time again this season. They've still got over the line on most of those occasions, but certainly means a nervy end to the game.
It does. As I said, the number 2 there who's just got injured, I think is going to be a pivotal player in the second half, both offensively and defensively. Defensively, that's not American.
Defensively.
What's happened to me?
The defence.
I did go to Florida once on my holidays, but no, I think we can. I hope Robbo and Potts has noticed it. We can get in the holes he's leaving, but he's also, as I continuously say, he's a threat to us going forward.
Caleb Kapoor is the player, but over this one it's Dylan Reid, but also Sierra Leone international Hindolo Mustafa, who hangs it in. There's an opportunity with Herrick off his line, and there it is. An early goal in this second half. Crystal Palace make it 1-1. And it's their top goal scorer, Ademola Ola Adebomi, all coming from a set piece, Mark.
I think Finn might not be happy with this. He's come, he's sort of unopposed. He may have just lost concentration for a minute there. I expect Finn to actually, and the fella's tucked it away, but I'd have expected Finn to grasp that actually. Not that, after he slipped through his fingers, but as I said, it's not going to be plain sailing this. It's a tough encounter.
Well, that's now his 7th goal of the season in the Premier League 2.
You know the number 2, Kapoor, has he been at Palace since a young lad, or has he been bought from somewhere? Or
I don't actually. Well, he's been in and around, of course, the first team this season and the under-18s recently as well. Of course, he's been at Crystal Palace for over 5 years.
Oh, right, okay, so since he was 13 at least then, yeah?
So he used to be at Welling United as a youth player from 2018 to 2021, and then was with Crystal Palace from 2021 onwards. And of course, he played recently for the England under-19, so he was teammates with Lewis Orford in the recent camp alongside Caelan Casey. It's a good chance for West Ham to try and get back into the lead. Hung in, but straight to Malden.
So it just shows you when people play grassroots football. I mean, he wasn't really, I'm not saying Welling United are grassroots, they're a bit above grassroots, but he hasn't really come into the programme until the age of 13, 14. So, you know, it just shows you if you are playing that sort of level of football, you can still be recognised and still go higher, you know, through the levels.
Crystal Palace have certainly started the brighter of the two in this second half as Zach Marsh struck it against Caelan Casey. On to that point, Mark, of course, I was reading up about Ray Oyabade, and he said similar. He was obviously in grassroots level up until, I think it was around 13, 14, or maybe 15, and he said obviously coming into this academy, it was hard to get used to it, but just took hard work to get used to the technicality of this academy, and now he feels like he fits in. But you think there can be some pros starting at grassroots level compared to academies?
Yeah, if you look at Mikel Antonio, West Ham, I've done like this, at West Ham United, safe. At West Ham United, Mikel didn't come through, and he played for Tooting and Mitchin, and then I think he found his way somewhere eventually. Where did he
was at Sheffield Wednesday,
Sheffield Wednesday,
and then
Nottingham Forest. But before that, he wasn't at an academy. As I say, he come through. You know, he's got his own style of his own, Mickey, to be fair, and he's just, he's strong, but he's effective. So there's different ways, of making it in the game. And I think if you the last tournament or the tournament before with England, most of those players who were playing for England come through academies, not Premier League teams. Carl Walker, I think, was at Sheffield United.
Harry Maguire, Sheffield United.
Yeah, so a lot of them
Tom Stones, Barnsley.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly.
Exactly. Well, Sean Moore went in sliding at the same time to the ball with Dylan Reid, the number 6 for Crystal Palace. He then lied down with his face planted to the grass. You could see maybe the foot of Dylan Reid went straight into the thigh of Sean Moore, but he's back up and ready to carry on. For a brief moment there, you felt that West Ham were going to have the advantage and be able to really threaten Crystal Palace, but that wasn't to be the case. But
an injury like that, unless you're really unfortunate, is a better. No one wants to get in the injuries, but it's better than a muscle strain. It's actually a knock, and you play on. Might hurt tomorrow, but I wasn't particularly concerned with it.
Briggs trying to play the reverse pass back to Swire, gets a throw instead.
Been in those situations quite a lot today. We just haven't got the ball into the running player, getting in behind, breaking lines.
You think that's where you miss a player like Junior Robinson?
Yeah, I mean, Junior, he's got electric pace, and he will attack the space. I'm not saying Josh Briggs doesn't. He does, but I'm saying Junior really will go for you there. To be a handy moment for Ollie Scholes to be on the pitch, because I fancy him with his left foot.
Certainly would.
Wrapping it in the top corner.
If only it wasn't for Graham Potter taking him off under 21's duty, eh? But it gives a chance for Akpata and Orford.
Now I'd far rather see Ollie playing tomorrow at the London Stadium, getting more minutes under his belt for the first team. That's what our job's all about. Development of players, I think Lou might be hitting this.
Orford lines one up, ooh, just wide. You could see it hit the post behind the goal and came straight back out, but Orford close there from this angle.
The keeper seemed quite confident it was going wide. Or maybe looking at the first goal, that's just his style. He doesn't like diving for things. And
I don't know how he's going to save the majority of strikes then that come his way. Be quite a unique goalkeeper style, but wouldn't surprise me with how football can sometimes change, They've become midfielders with their feet. Sent over towards King. Swire going over towards him as well. Slight breeze here at Rush Green, but like we said earlier, Mark, still feels like a sauna in a way compared to the conditions we've experienced throughout the winter.
Definitely.
I think Mustafa just brought down.
Because Palace have sort of taken the game over. If Robbo or Potts is thinking of making some changes, just to change the game up, change the shape of the way it's going. If not, I'm fearing for us a little bit.
It's a very young bench, of course. Gollum Beckis there, Josh Landers, Rayan Oyabade and Dan Rigg. Rigg's, of course, the eldest out of the outfield players on the bench. Of course, Mason Terry too.
I mean, Josh Landers for the under-18s has got a very good ratio minutes to goals. Great decision, Lino.
And he came on against Leicester recently as well. I think even you predicted that you need a player like Josh Landers. I can't quite recall the reason, but it was for what he just provides naturally.
I just think so. Also, he is a good focal point to play into. A little bit, I think the first team. I went to Wolves the other night to watch the first team play, just strictly as a fan, and we took off the young boy
Evan Ferguson.
Yep, from Brighton, who was not holding the ball up well enough, and we put on the big German, and he did give us a focal point in the second half, and we created a couple of one for himself. We created a couple of chances, and I didn't think we played great on Tuesday. I think we created enough chances to come away from a point. Is he offside? No, I don't know this.
Assistant referee keeping his flag down He's already got 1 goal against West Ham this evening. Can't get a second with that cutback. Tried to chop it on to his left.
Good defending from Ezra. Didn't dive in, stood his ground. Saying, go on, you beat me, you beat me. Didn't dive in here. Stood, lets him go wider. And then he's had a chop and things come out.
Probably one of the biggest players on the pitch, the number 9. And
yeah, big fella.
in fact, he even went to second-tier Belgian side SK Beveren at the start of this season. So he made 8 appearances there in the Challenger Pro League. Scored.
When did he come back?
He came back in January.
Oh, so he's had a good start at 6 months there. I mean, and that's a totally different game playing in the league in Belgium. Pace is a lot slower. You know, it's much more technical. It's a different thing, the Belgium and Dutch league, than playing in our game.
Without trying to foresee matters. In fact, he scored a brace recently. It was 2 late goals versus Stoke. Stoke, the home side, found themselves a goal up. And then he put them 2-1 down.
That's 6 months playing in Belgium, playing in men's football, can only do him good.
What have you made of his performance so far? Of course, he's got the goal, but
he's got the goal and he's a striker, so that's what he's there to do. He hasn't really taken my eye like the number 2 has, but you know, he looks like a threat to play against. He looks like a throwback old sort of centre forward, if you want.
He does. Here's Reed. Has to sit in between the centre half sometimes. Flipped in from Grante. Straight into Herrick.
I'd like us to have a little bit spell of us making passes. Not to say breaking lines, but just getting hold of the ball. Oh, but you take it off him. Take it off him. There you go. Put Lou in.
Charging run from Orford, but the ball was just in front, and it was favoured by Luke Brown, the 19-year-old.
That's what I was saying earlier. That just take care with that pass. Well played, Caleb.
Here's forward into Orford.
So much.
Saying take care, I think a bit of care could have happened with that pass there from Orford.
Yep. I mean, you just heard Robbo shout out there, give us some rhythm. And that's, I think, exactly what we need is a bit of rhythm, a bit of possession. Take the wind out of them, let them know in the game. But they're just dictating the play, if you want. Tempo, territorially. Got to be our fire. Robbo again, get some rhythm.
So how would you say they just as it's obviously a straightforward formula, take some possession from them and pass the ball round, but any other ways, or is it solely just based on possession and see what you can do with it with the ball at your feet?
No, sometimes I think because when you're under the cosh, when we're getting minimal possession, we're trying to go forward too quickly at times. So maybe just make a few passes, make a couple square, and then you sort of get yourself in the game. If it's there and we've got good numbers and we can hit them on the counter, obviously do that. We're trying to do it all the time when it's not really on.
And Palace may have the numerical advantage. Well,
yeah,
there's been a stoppage in play at this current moment in time. West Ham are 3rd in the league. Chelsea just 3 points behind them. Of course, they're beating Aston Villa still 2-0.
I think if you're 3rd in the league, does that mean you play whoever's 9th in the league?
You play who's 14th, and currently that is Everton. So as things stand, obviously it won't finish this way as Everton are still on 18 games played, and they've got Norwich on Monday, and then they finish their campaign, Everton, against Tottenham. But as things stand, West Ham could play Everton. Of course, you've got around them Liverpool, Leeds, Wolves, Sunderland and Brighton. All 2 points separating those sides that I've just mentioned.
It can change really quickly. I don't think, and I'm not just saying it because I'm not a lover of Spurs. Spurs are not in the playoff position, are they? I don't think they can make it. I'm sure that's what Robbo was saying.
Yes, they're 23rd.
What a shame. 16
points in 18 games.
Yep.
I mean, it's not been the best season for Tottenham Hotspur, but...
So pull it down. Just pull it down.
Across the face, Ajala gets a chance, but Malden cradling onto that ball like his life depended on it. Looks like he may have even just...
I actually thought the great ball from Lou, I think, just touch it down in front of it. Josh, wasn't it? It wasn't a bad cross, to be fair to him. It wasn't a bad cross. Never really got cleanly to Josh.
Well, Luke Brown will be extremely relieved because the ball did just go through him as he was sliding to intercept it. There is going to be a little drinks break now.
How many minutes gone? Is it the old ever chat with the coach one?
The hour.
There you go.
Oh, there we go. How many times have we seen this? I think next season, Mark, when we do these games, we'll have to actually count when the goalkeeper goes down for these tactical breaks, because you can see the lead coach for Crystal Palace, Darren Powell, certainly making the most of this.
It's quite amusing because it's the Palace keeper who's gone down. I think we need to chat to our players more than Palace do, so it might have done us a favour.
Thank you very much, Crystal Palace. Eric sprinting over to his goal.
Cockney rhyming slang for favour. Go on, son. I think I've said it.
Strawberry.
Go on, geezer. Go on. Proper Cockney you are, mate.
I'm turning into one now. I'm turning into one.
Born within the sound of Brighton Bobos. Sorry.
Hove, actually.
Hove, is it? Posh version of Brighton.
No.
I've been to Hove. That's where they play. That's where Sussex play, isn't it?
That's where Sussex Cricket do play. Yes, the Sussex Sharks.
I'm actually a Kent fan. Went there with Kent. Got smashed by Sussex. Yeah.
Who's the Essex side?
Essex are the side. They play Chelmsford. But although I'm a West Ham fan and I live in Essex, I've always been a Kent cricket supporter.
Any reason?
Yeah, when I first got into cricket, I lived in Kent. And they were the best team at the time, Kent. They was fantastic. Mike Dinner, Sassy Fickbowl, people like that, fantastic. We was the governors. It was us and Lancashire. Now Kent are useless, just got relegated. But I still go. I've still got to Canterbury a couple of times a year.
And here come Crystal Palace again.
We'll play
Stafford. Here comes Zach Patter.
Keep the ball, keep it.
First spell of the game after that quick drinks break. Can West Ham make it count? More. First time ball in. Malden once again coming across his goal.
Just didn't have the pace on the cross. It was great from Lou driving in, great pass. Good idea from Sean, just a bit more on it.
Smart turn there from Caleb Kapoor. He just pulls it back to Reed.
He started to play his position a bit more and just wander, Caleb. He's here playing as a conventional right back, if you like.
Rather than playing like a right midfielder.
Yeah, maybe the coaches had sloppy. Maybe the coaches had a word with him. You're leaving holes, you're leaving gaps. I don't know.
Aaron giving it away. Here they come, Crystal Palace. Well, just behind the goal scorer for Crystal Palace. Now Swire holding off his man and beating Reed.
Drive, just drive. Look at the picture right.
Up against Grante.
Just help it on. We're in.
This is brilliant. Fearon, chipped effort. Cleared off the line, but it didn't really have the power on it to potentially beat the defender who cleared it away.
Fantastic approach play. Really good. That was the one where the man over, Lou's recognised it. I think maybe Preston just believed in himself a little bit there, a little bit of devilment. It was good play.
It was brilliant play, as you were saying, Mark. Just drive, and I thought Orford was clever. Just was quick, knew exactly what he was doing, and Fearon was at the right place at the right time. But they've got a free kick.
Yeah, and we have got a foothold in the game. You see, he's gone into, he recognised the man over. I think he was. In fairness, I think Preston was passing. I was thinking he was trying to score. He wasn't.
Zach Marsh just gone into the book. This is why there's a free kick. Ajala came off his heel, it looked like, as he was in a perfect position to try and steer it into that top corner, but instead it came away. Now Moore.
We are starting to ask the questions.
Good cross, but headed away commandingly by George King. And now Crystal Palace look to break. Leading the charge is Mustafa. Here's Zach Marsh holding his run, but that's brilliant from Orford.
Well played, Lou.
Marsh keeps it, threads it through.
Offside, calm down, Mr. Mannering.
Wow, game's really livened up now.
Yeah, we've come into the game, which again we've been a bit more adventurous. We're leaving holes for them to attack. Yeah, but I'm just glad we had a little passage.
West Ham have just, not like they've been asleep, but just woken up a little.
Yep.
It feels really.
Yep.
got into the rhythm of things now. Orford just trying to pull the strings towards Briggs, but
I think
unable to.
Josh has come inside then too early. Too early. What we have to do is it's important to recognise when you have the numbers. That's what the game's about. 2v1 there, and that's a foul referee. Lots of coaches do lots of sessions on getting 2v1 situations, and when you get them, really making it count. We've had a couple of 2v1s and we've actually got people in which haven't had the end product.
Orford getting in behind. This is good. Orford in towards Moore. Trips. No calls for a foul, so he knew that it was him that was the reason West Ham's move broke down there.
I think I've picked out there number 2. I think Lewis Orford's been very, not just because he scored, he's been very influential as well.
Definitely.
And anything we've done in a positive vein.
A good game so far, Orford. But then they whack it against the crossbar. It was Franco Uma.
I'm delighted he's been a little bit selfish. Not that I blame him for being a forward. If he cuts that across, it's a tapping. It's a tapping. Watch where his other fellows there. The 9, he's not over enamoured, the 9. Just escalating to the sky. But that's what you do. That's where you're a striker. You know, you back yourself.
Well, Franco Uma, of course, he had a brilliant end to the last season. As we know, of the Premier League International Cup, Crystal Palace got to the final last year and they actually won it. And he was the goal scorer against the young PSV side at Selhurst Park on that May evening. So he's had some good times, the Irishman. Of course, he actually joined Crystal Palace in February 2023 from Cork City. He registered 11 goals and 7 assists, of course, one of those being the one in the Premier League International Cup final, which saw him go on the first team tour of the US pre-season. And in fact, he's featured within the first team matchday squad 5 times this season under Oliver Glasner.
I obviously like him. Looks like Aridis is coming on. I don't know who for, but looks like Aridis is coming on.
Well, of course, Golombekis made a full 90 against Portugal when he was away with the England under-18s, and funnily enough, the player that scored in that 1-0 win for England, where Eridas Golombekis started and played the full 90, the goal scorer for England was Jesse Derry, who is currently on the bench for Crystal Palace, yet to be introduced. Eridas Golombekis is now.
Yeah, I mean, he's played a lot of games with the 21s and playing up. You know, he's got a good mind on him, Eridas. So I think Ezra may go to the left. Yes, he has. Ezra's going to go to the left where Lewis Brown was. Now Eridas goes over to the right and Caleb just plays down the centre as a free centre half. I couldn't actually call a winner at the moment. I couldn't call a winner at this moment in time.
Well, Louis Brown coming off though, he did look positive in parts and really showed his determination when Crystal Palace came forward. Now West Ham's chance to come forward. This is brilliant. Orford!
Get in, Lou.
Getting the brace and putting West Ham back in front just before the 70th minute. It's his first brace of the season.
Only 1 or maybe 2 minutes ago, I was just talking about what an influence Lou's had on the game. And there goes the show. He's had 2 goals, he's powered forward regularly, and I think he's been back to his best tonight. Let's hope we get a penalty and he doesn't miss it and he scores an hat-trick and gets the match ball. But no, again with his left foot actually, it was with his left foot, first touch with his right, I think he finished it with his left. Cam's done well there, he's run the channel, rather there's an end product. Good touch, good finish.
Really good finish, showing what he can do in the opposition box.
Yep.
A really good display.
And as I said earlier, it does yourself no harm. No harm? I've got another language these days. It does yourself no harm in the first team. So at the 21s get on 1-2-1, Lou scored 2. So they're remembering with 1-2-1, Lou's got 2 goals. So, you know.
So far, Orford is the reason why they're winning it, of course.
Without a doubt.
Crystal Palace had some chances, but they have gone begging. I mean, also, props to Sean Moore in the build-up there. That clipped ball in behind towards Swire.
Great ball.
To then set up the goal.
Yeah.
All 3 of those players in Moore, Swire and Orford linking up nicely, and the trio of players have actually played a lot of under-21s football for West Ham in the last 2 seasons.
They have indeed. I think Palace did definitely start this half, you know, in a better vein than us, but started to make a few passes and a little bit of possession, and the game has sort of become more even.
Well, here's Caleb Kapoa getting beyond Moore. We'll try to do the same for Mayers. He does! Low ball across, and the substitute Golan Beckers clears it away. Ends up being a neat pass towards Moore, who then fires it down the line. Unsure who to, but perhaps it was a safety first approach there, do you think?
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen the two, and he gets it in there and there's grass in behind, he's going to go at you. And he's very, very confident, and he is a threat. I definitely see him more as a right wing back than a full back, because he seemed that interested in defending, if I'm honest.
Is that something Mark Robson tries to educate him, you'd say?
Yeah, no.
Well, of course, it's his job.
Yeah.
Would you say Moore is someone who will actually take up a forward role as his career goes on, or?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, Sean come to us from Ireland as a left winger. He wasn't a defender. Sean is about creating things. He's just doing a job, not doing a job. It's a bit doing his service. He's there defending. Sean's a forward-thinking player more than a defender.
Caleb Kapoa. Back out to Rodney. Dangerous ball. Ola Adebomi was there towards the back post.
They seem to have a good response both times, Palace, for going a goal behind. They're doing it again now. Sort of encamped not in our box, but encamped in our final third. I'd rather we engaged a little bit higher, put them under a bit of pressure.
Waiting to come on for Crystal Palace. The first substitution is Ayamofi Jamide. Bring on a centre half.
Strange substitution. They must be doing it for a reason, unless there's a knock. Good look. Keep it. Keep it. Now we can ask a question.
Balls for an offside. But Briggs clips it in. Headed away by the number 5, Luke Brown. And now we'll see the first substitution, and that will be his last touch of the game. The header away, which has given West Ham the corner. Luke Brown coming off for the centre half. Ayamofi Jamide, a like-for-like change there made by Darren Powell.
It's nothing to do with if you've got a first name beginning with L and your second name's Brown, you can't play a full game. Both teams have pulled one off.
That's the rule of today, you know. It's don't play L. Brown.
Finn's doing the old like, something wrong with me. Have a chat with Robbo down below us. There we go. I think the rule makers of the game might have to look into this one. Not actually this one, but every game is happening there by a team.
Well, West Ham are making the most of being able to have a chat with the staff. Crystal Palace still in the penalty area, waiting for this corner. Not much communication going on between them all. Some few energy tablets and gels consumed by West Ham for the final 16 minutes plus stoppage time.
Finn's okay, surprisingly enough. He's fine.
Well, if their keeper can do it, so can ours.
Exactly.
Whereas now we're going to go into a bit of a mini game there. That was a mini break, of course, and now we've just got quarter of an hour to go, so it'll be interesting to see what unfolds now and which team can come out on top. West Ham, they'll be happy if it remains level, of course. Lewis Orford's brace a decisive factor so far in this game. But it's Fearon on that far side. It's a firm delivery and headed away by Uma. Walden actually having to shake away the goal and reposition it towards the goal line.
That was the sort of corner I was asking for, whip right in the air. I mean, it was good contact from the Palace player, but it was a good delivery.
Akpata in towards Fearon. Nice idea out towards Ajala. Look at the feet there from Caleb Kapoa. Got a bit of a knock there after the collision with Sean Moore as he's just limping.
He did.
He's a talented asset.
He's confident. He's doing no tricks and flicks. He's definitely a good tackle. Get there, Ez. Tyrone's out there. Tyrone's not going down for no reason. He's again the fella.
Kapoa carrying on his run.
I mean, it's not a head injury. Palace are completely in their rights not to kick the ball out.
Mustafa.
It makes me laugh in the Premier League. Good save, Finn. Great save.
Excellent save. Denying Mustafa with a firm strike that was aiming for the roof of the net.
I'm not saying Finn owes us anything from their first goal, but if you're well pleased with that, good save. Fellas hit it well. It always makes me laugh in the Premier League. Someone goes down injured with not a head injury, and the crowd are all screaming. You haven't got to put the ball out unless it's a head injury. You just play on until the ball goes out.
I agree. I feel it's one of those things where it can always happen in your favour, and you've just got to take it when it does.
Exactly right.
Otherwise,
exactly right.
you're just not going to end up with anything, really. So, Rio Cardenas has come on. Another exciting player at their disposal. Trinidad and Tobago. Joined the club at 16 and can play on either side. He's seen as an advanced, quick fullback. He's come on to play the remainder.
Out. Don't sit in there, don't be too deep.
Reed cutting it on his left. It's a nice pass to Mustafa, who's in some room. He tested Herrick last time. Can he do it now? Well, West Ham on the back foot here, but you'd expect it following a couple of substitutions from Crystal Palace.
What's his name, the number 10, Palace?
The number 10, Sierra Leone international, and his name is Hindolo Mustafa.
He's quite a threat when it goes into him in the box. You don't want to make a tackle because it could be a pen. He'll trying to entice you in, looking for someone leaving a leg out and go over. He's an handful to 10. Played Cam.
Of course, well, he's impressive that he's played senior international football. He made his debut for Sierra Leone earlier on in the season. It was in a 0-0 draw versus Chad in the AFCON qualifiers, and then actually scored his first international goal, and that was against Zambia this season. He was also part of their recent first team too, so it sounds like he's got his foot in the door there.
So he's scored an international first team international goal, has he?
Yes.
Well, that's at his age, and that's an achievement. Good. No mean feat to score internationally. Was that in a friendly or a World Cup?
It was in AFCON qualifiers.
Oh, right, fair enough. Competitive game.
Yeah. Going to be another substitution for West Ham. Fourth official has been notified that West Ham are intending to make a substitution. I've never actually seen a card given to the fourth official. I didn't know that was actually such an official thing.
Yeah. That was the kit man who done it. That's one of the kit man's duties.
Oh, okay.
I reckon that Josh Ajala's going to come off for Josh Landers.
So a Josh swap, potentially.
I don't know. I haven't had that. I'm just guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing, as I say, he needs someone who you can hit and play as a focal point in a bit different. Josh is looking to get off people's shoulders and that.
Well, I can see 15 is on green, which means he's coming on. However, I believe it is for Preston Fearon.
This is dangerous, extremely.
Kapoha taking it on his left. It's a low strike and a lovely goal from a player that's caused West Ham trouble this afternoon. And West Ham make it level.
The minute the ball's gone to him in that sort of space and he's 1v1, he's a confident lad, and I'm thinking he's going to go at people there. Cut inside on his left. good goal, to be fair. He's a good player. Well, it is Josh Landers, but he's actually bringing Preston off.
Just cutting it in on his left. He had room. 3 West Ham players in front of him, Casey and Mayers being 2 of them.
It's one of those, if you shoot through people's legs, the keeper's unsighted, and that's sort of, obviously it can be blocked, but you shoot through people's legs and you get through the legs, you've got a good chance of maybe scoring. And that's exactly what happened.
And he knew exactly what he was doing as well. He's just caressed it into that corner.
Yeah. He's a little bit like Jeremy Monga for Leicester. He's definitely a name to look for in the future.
Well, only 18 years of age.
Did you say he's representing England already, has he?
He has.
Yeah.
In the England under 19 setup. Yes, so he played the full 90 against Turkey, so he's played with Lewis Orford before.
Well, if the 2 players on the pitch have influenced the play, it's them 2 tonight.
Yes, exactly. So if you look at it from a perspective, of course it's frustrating for West Ham. Good for English football.
Yep.
You see 2 players really dictating a game for their side in a competitive Premier League 2 match.
Well, we are playing under the EPP guidelines, and the EPP was set up to produce players for the English national team. So there you go. I mean, obviously we're interested in our own clubs, but it is to produce players for England. That's what it's all about. Develop homegrown players. I sometimes look at Premier League games and there's no English players playing, and I think, no, we haven't done what we said on the tin. But the 2 best players here represent England.
Landers just putting some pressure on Grante. Curled over towards Mustafa. Now Kapoor. A stocky player as well.
He is. He's quick, he's strong, he's got a lot of attributes to do.
Izuma up against Casey, unable to get past him.
Good defending, Caleb.
Come back to him briefly though. Landers heading it towards the far side of the pitch, but doesn't end up in West Ham territory, and instead Crystal Palace play the ball in the opposition's half.
Still at least, I'd say with injury time, at least 10 minutes to go, yeah.
And that wide strike never troubling Herrick in goal. Perhaps a draw is fair right now, would you say?
Yeah, if I'm honest, yeah. I think it's a fair, both sides have had situations and opportunities, and they may have turned it into goal-scoring opportunities. Hasn't really happened. Yeah, I think that's fair. There's been little patches in the game, like they've dominated, we've dominated. Been some good goals. And you can tell the good results that Palace have had lately. You can see why they've had those results. You really can. Where are Palace in the league, did you say?
5th.
5th, are they?
Astonishing to think they had such a poor defeat against Brighton. I mean, that 10-0 is really, really poor. That would have been a nasty dressing room to be in afterwards.
I wonder if there was a reason for it, or they were just sending off or something like that.
There was no sending off.
Oh.
Here comes Swire, challenged by Kapoor.
He'll drive here. He will drive here.
Just had a look at the team that played that game against Brighton and they lost 10-0, and 4 of the players are actually playing this evening as well. So just a bad day at the office.
Bad night at the office. I know you keep mentioning it because you're a Brighton fan, but
I don't know what you're saying, Mark.
Turn.
Also a big West Ham under-21s enthusiast.
You are indeed.
And Academy of Football enthusiast.
You are indeed. I'm only jesting with you.
I'm just thinking of the comments right now. Although, also, if you are watching though on YouTube, do subscribe to the West Ham YouTube channel. Do give this a like, and actually, given that it is the last game at Rush Green of the Premier League 2 season before the playoffs. Why don't you put down your player of the season as well? Who's impressed you the most? Of course, I wouldn't be surprised if Orford has many shouts, given the season he's had breaking into the first team. Same with Caelan Casey, but of course, Orford there. Josh Ajala's goals have certainly been useful, not just for the under-21s, but also the under-18s. Sean Moore sliding in nicely. Toranak Patra, another player that's impressed. That's a really neat ball. Just for a second, you felt Ajala may have a chance, but there was always a bit too much on that.
I first thought it was really well weighted with a bit of check and a bit of spin on it. It's going to hold, but it just sort of gathered momentum and went through. Yeah, I mean, there's been players who have been consistently. I think Ezra's had a really good season and been consistent. You know, as a bit of a one who goes under the radar as a defender. But I think Lou's been our best player tonight. I really do.
Absolutely. You know, he just can dictate games for West Ham. There's Caleb Kapoor, not the brightest spell we've seen him have, but it's not over yet. And they could actually make the most of this. It's an open net and Herrick makes a brilliant save.
I think if there was any aspersions cast at Finn for that the drop catch, he's definitely made up for it. Two really good saves there.
Excellent.
Again,
really
it was Kapoor who wouldn't leave it, and it generated in the fellow having quite a reasonable chance.
It was the speed from Herrick that allowed him to just get up, but also his diving. It was like he was hovering over the ground when he made the save. He was also the goalkeeper for the England under-19 side that had Orford and Kapoor in it. He knows a lot about that Crystal Palace number 2.
So there's quite a few internationals on the pitch when you think. I think Josh Landers plays for Scotland, Josh Briggs plays for Northern Ireland. You know, a lot of our players. Sean Moore plays for Era, the Southern Ireland. So there's a lot of internationals on the pitch.
Like you said earlier in the commentary, these two produce very good academies. The best academies really in London. A lot of players may end up going maybe in their mid-teens, late teens, but were brought up in South and East London.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, in South East London, they're also rivals of Charlton and Millwall who are looking at the same players, but he's a hotbed of talent, as East London and Essex is.
I suppose having that Premier League status, the first team, only helps. Ajala trying to help West Ham. And George King will go into the book. Dylan Reed's having words with the referee. For a minute I thought, it's not going to be him, is it? Because he's already on a yellow card.
I don't know who it was he's booked.
Oh, it is Dylan Reed. My word, I'm fairly sure Dylan Reed's already been booked. But
maybe he should have been booked, but maybe he wasn't.
Perhaps not. Couldn't speak in the first half, couldn't see in the second half, so. Most importantly, we want West Ham to try and get a win here. Of course, they have one more game. That's against Middlesbrough, and that's next Friday at a kick-off time at 7 p.m. And then the playoffs will begin. That switch over towards Sean Moore was a heavy one.
Middlesbrough wine on Friday night. Fancy it?
Pardon?
Middlesbrough wine on Friday night.
Yeah, I'd love to go up towards the riverside. Maybe get a Palmo as well. You know, try some of the local cuisine. Well, on comes Rayan Oyabade.
I think I'm washing my hair next Friday. I'm not sure. No, actually,
we're there.
I'm packing.
Oh, nice.
I'm packing for Centre Parks the following Monday.
Oh, brilliant. Which one's that? Longleat?
Elvedon.
Longleat. That's the only Centre Parks I know and have been to. Although I've been to one in France as well.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Well, they started with it in France. Originally where Centre Parks came
Must
from.
have been. Well, I suppose it makes sense as it's spelt with a C and not a K.
Well done,
Parks.
sir. Well done, sir.
French GCSE got me far.
A-level cockney, me.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn as well. That's how infectious it is.
Oh, I don't like this, I don't like this.
Franco Uma. Crystal Palace get a late goal here on the 90th minute.
I'd like to have a look at it. And it's not going to be given, but in an offside perspective.
Well, there's 7 minutes added on.
We won't get the straight line of it. We won't get the VAR. Good. You know, it's a great pass from this lad here, but.
And Dylan Reid.
No, he's onside. He's onside. And tucked it away well, to be fair.
Well, you were saying the reason why Palace are where they are, and given their recent results against Manchester City, they're doing the exact same what they've done to other teams, but to West Ham this evening.
Yep. And they could be a team that we meet further on in the knockout competition, you know, maybe the quarterfinals, or without being presumptuous, the semi-final. And you know, we know what to expect. If we do, does that drop us down a place in the league, or how does that look? It
likely won't, because the teams below are currently quite far below, given the points. Yeah, so West Ham still in third. They're still 2 points above Chelsea, 2 points above Crystal Palace. So it really does go down to that game at Middlesbrough. If West Ham are able to win that game, then pretty much third is secured. The only team who could potentially catch up with West Ham is Manchester United, who have still got 3 games to go compared to West Ham's 1. They've still got Nottingham Forest, Reading and Wolves. Their season ends on the 14th of April, 3 days after West Ham's.
And where are Middlesbrough in the league?
Middlesbrough right now are 21st.
I might put my air wash off and go up there and watch us.
Well, they've just gone 2-0 up against Leeds. At Leeds.
Oh, I'm back on the air wash then.
Yeah. Get the head and shoulders out. Other brands are available.
I was going to say, you know.
Oh, I got there before you, was it?
No, I was going to say I don't have dandruff. In fact, I've got no hair, but there's nothing to do with it. Not 4.
Skied over by Rio Cardenas, the attacking player. Crystal Palace really starting to enjoy it here now.
It's an absolute gilt-edged chance, to be fair.
That's a bad setback for West Ham. But Crystal Palace, I suppose it has been even, and perhaps a draw would be fair, but definitely in these final 15 minutes it feels like Crystal Palace have taken the game away from West Ham, would you say, Mark?
Yeah, I must admit, at half-time, although we was winning 1-0, I did think it was going to be a long 45 minutes. I did think they were going to come at us, and they actually really have.
Skied over.
Thought when we managed to go in front, maybe let's give us something to cling on to. And if we'd have gone ourselves at 2-1, maybe gone to 3-1, something different. But fair due to Palace. You know, it's been a competitive game, and I feel a bit sorry for Lou, because I mean, Lou scored 2 goals and he's really drove us on from midfield. And looks like he might be on the end of a defeat.
Colin Becker's playing as a right wing back now with Briggs inside.
Yeah, I've never seen Naridas plays that, but it's another string to his bow. As I say, always say, under 21's levels about football development. And if you're playing at different, you know, getting used to playing different positions.
Brilliant save again from
He's made some good saves this second half.
Really has.
Really has.
Sebastian Williams about to come on for Crystal Palace. That's a good save from Herrick. Smart stop.
Well done, Ez.
Sliding to get that towards Swire.
Okay.
3 more minutes for West Ham to get a third. Don't know how that came about.
If he squares it, we're bang in trouble.
We've got a numerical advantage here. It's cut. Oh! Cut in on the inside. And Crystal Palace secure the victory. Ademola Ola Adebomi gets the brace.
Yep. They've been clinical. The chances they've created in the last 10, 15 minutes, can't knock Palace for that. You can see why they went to Manchester City and won 3-2. And very similar sort of scoring repercussions of that.
It's going to be 2 substitutions now for Crystal Palace.
If you look at us now, we do look like a beaten team out there. Hands on hips, people looking round. When they actually break lines, Palace, and they're in the final third, this last 20 minutes, they've actually gone for us and stuck all their chances away. I mean, the second goal was the number 2, wasn't it? Yeah, no, down the right, they've got in. So you're thinking whatever happens next week at Middlesbrough, we'll probably end up third anyway, will we?
Yes, only Manchester. Well, if we win, yeah. If we win, we come top 3, meaning we will play 14th place.
Okay.
Joe Gibbard replacing Indolo Mustafa. Over 70 seconds left of the game now, which looked positive, really positive for West Ham when Lewis Orford found the back of the net for a second time. But then just as the game went on, Crystal Palace just unlocked West Ham. Yep. And that 4th goal as well really killed things off.
I think 4-2 does flatter Palace, but they've probably definitely done enough in the second half to warrant taking the 3 points.
They have had some real good opportunities as well.
Yep, and I'll go away with this number 2 in my head thinking he's got a good chance in the game.
Uma fouled by Casey. It's going to be a free kick for West Ham. No, against West Ham. Casey's already gone into the book.
Don't think he could be booked for that. I wasn't 100% sure it was a foul. It might have been, yeah. Cairns pushed him in the back.
Corner. Really nice. He just scoops it.
He's got that sort of languid touch of arrogance about him, the 2, which, you know, signifies the quality the lad's got. Does keep himself. Look at this grenade, really high and wide, the 2.
Trying to find him, but it's quite central, that ball.
There he is.
Still finds him though. There's Gibbard. Low ball across the face, and they've made it 5. And it's the substitute, Sebastian Williams, linking up with the other substitute.
I think it ended
Joe
up...
Gibbard.
Sure it didn't come off Briggsy. I thought it ended up coming off of Josh Briggsy's leg, but we don't want Josh Briggs to have an own goal, so we'll give it to them anyway. But that, I mean, that's gone 5-2. That really has flattered them, to be fair, but I thought... Well, maybe not. Maybe I've done the kid a disservice.
Have to see a look again, closer.
They really have got him behind us of late.
Where do you think it's actually gone wrong then?
Palace bringing the number 2 with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just sort of lost our way, lost our energy. You know, from being in front and all of a sudden you're not in front. You know, it really does take the wind out your sails, and that's what appears to have happened to us. But it's a learning curve, and then we've got to speak about it. We've got to come good again next week at Borough. Then we've got to get ourselves ready for the playoff games, because that's the important ones. It's 5-2 now. It looks like an absolute hand win, but...
Yeah, go Joe! Go Joe! Leave him Joe!
Brilliant control. And that's going to be the end. A disappointing end to the game as Palace managed to get 3 goals in quick succession to really make the scoreline flatter them. It ends here 5-2. Mark, your verdict on the game before we go over the goals, please.
I think I did say before the game I expected Palace to be strong and a decent side, and they was. I think they was very effective with a couple of... They got a good forward line and a good right wing back, and probably can't grumble too much. The only thing I would grumble about is the scoreline. I didn't think we deserved to get beat 5-2, but got to learn from it, dust ourselves down, go again next week, make sure we're ready for the playoffs, because that's what it's all about. Getting through the first round of the playoffs, then the quarters, then the semis, and hopefully winning the trophy. That's what it's all about.
But most importantly, the development.
Exactly right. I think that was a non-negotiable that everyone knew I meant development without actually saying it.
Well, this was right at the beginning of the day. Lewis Orford scoring just after the half-hour mark to make it 1-0. That's how it went into the break.
I liked both his touch to shift it. There, little angle, right in the corner. If you put it low down in the corner, the keeper's body weight's going the other way, you're going to score.
And Herrick accidentally spilling that.
Yep. He did fit. He did fit. He's made a mistake, and he'll be the first one to hold his hands up. But when you think about the 2 or 3 saves that he made in the second half, he more than made up for that. More than made up for it.
And then West Ham got back in the lead. As we know, Orford again, but look at that ball clipped over towards Smyer, who ran onto it, got in behind Grante. And then here was Orford, scored 2 goals with his left foot.
Again, it's the little touch to give himself a yard. Might have caught a slight deflection there, but he knew what he was doing, but he knew where it was going.
Crystal Palace.
This is the one that as soon as he hit the diag there, I knew it was 1v1, and I thought this fella's going to be positive, like he was. I didn't know exactly what he was going to do, obviously, but that is positive. He's played it through legs into the corner. He's quite sure of himself, and he's a good player, the two. Very good.
Well, this was then in the 90th minute. Wow, 3 goals in the last 8 minutes.
Yeah, it's a really good defence splitting pass. This pass here from the lad. That ball there is quality. The right way, in behind people. Fellas tucked it away well as well. That was a good pass.
And then on the counter, 95th minute. 3-2 at this point, of course, to Palace.
Again, in behind us, defence splitting pass. Chop on his left foot, good finish. Those 2 passes they've made, they're the sort of passes you're looking for midfield players to break lines, to ask the other, get in behind the other team's defence, and then hope and work on your attacking players to be clinical in the finish, which they definitely was.
Mayer's unable to clear it too far, but once again, Kaporha laying off to Gibbard. And there it was, whether that was an own goal or not.
If you see Kapoor there, it looks a very simple thing he's done. So he can do the difficult things, he can do the simple things. He's got a good all-round game. I'd like to see how his career sort of materialises. Wouldn't be surprised if he's seen in around Crystal Palace's first team squad sometime next season.
Well, we'll look out for that, but it ends here, 5-2 to Crystal Palace. Have a marvellous weekend, everyone. Of course, West Ham have a big game tomorrow against Bournemouth. Mark, you're going to be there?
I'll be there.
Absolutely.
Come on, you irons.
Of course. Well, come on, you irons. You've been joined by me, Ollie Ordis, and of course, Mark Phillips. Well, of course, Middlesbrough next Friday. West Ham have secured 3rd spot, or can't go any higher. But at the end of the day, it's West Ham 2, Palace 5.